Okay, so for number 2, we're still talking about significant figures, but now we're performing various operations and using significant figures. So in the first one here, letter A, we have 25.33 plus 155. All right, so what are the rules when we are adding or subtracting significant figures here? For adding and subtracting, what we're going to do is use the lowest common place value. So if we look at these, and this is why I set it up like this rather than how it is on the paper. I intentionally wrote it like that so that we could use this strategy. Right here, I can see I have a ones place value. That's the lowest of this 155. And this also has a ones place value. It has some lower things, but there's nothing here for this one. I have to cut it off right here. And there's my decimal. So when I add this, I'm going to go ahead and just add it. Who cares? This is 3, 3. This is 0, 8. So 180, wow, 180.33, but I have to round it to the ones place value because that is the lowest place value they both have in common. It's very important. So this actually equals 180. I get 3 significant figures there. Okay. Let's move on to letter B. All right, here we have letter B. We can see here that we are multiplying. So the rules when you're multiplying or dividing is you keep the number of significant figures that the value with the least amount has. So here I have 2 sig figs. Here I have 3 sig figs. So therefore, my answer must have 2 significant figures. I only get as many as the least amount. All right, so if we go ahead and just throw this one in a calculator here. So this equals 0.0625. I only get to keep 2 significant figures. So that cuts me off right here. And now I have to round. This is a 5. So this equals 0.063. There's my answer. Okay, perfect. Let's move on. Okay, so for letter C here, now we're starting to combine multiple different operations. Here we have subtraction on the top of this fraction, and then we're going to be dividing by 15 at some point. So now we have to employ both of those rules when we need them. The first thing I'm going to do to solve this problem is subtract 45.25 from 750.5. So on the top of my fraction here, I'm going to get 705.25. So this is 705.25 over 15. But I have to think about those rules. So this one gives me a tenths place value. That's the smallest one here. This one also has a tenths. So this one gets rounded to the tenths. I know in my brain that that is where I'm chopping that off. So here now I have a division problem. 1, 2, 3, 4 significant figures, and here I only have 2 significant figures. So my final answer only gets 2 significant figures. So I'm going to go ahead and divide this. I'm not going to round this yet. I'm going to get it all squared away all the way at the end. So now if I divide 705.25 by 15, we get 47.0 so 47.0167. The 6 is repeating, goes on forever. But remember, I only get the least number of significant figures that I have present here. So I only get 2 significant figures. I'm going to round this to 47. That's our answer, 47. Looks like we should have more, but this 15 limits us. Okay, cool. Let's do the next one. Okay, so here's our last one regarding operations with sig figs. This one looks even more complicated than what we had before. We have addition, we have subtraction, division, and then last we have multiplication. So we're going to have to employ, again, all of these rules. So what I'm going to do first is take care of this addition and subtraction on the top and bottom of this fraction. So this gives me a tenths place value that they both have in common. So 17.5 plus 3.15, 20.65, and I know that I get to keep 2 here. I'm not going to round this yet because I will do the rounding at the very end. So I just need to know, all right, I get 3 sig figs here for when I have to divide this later. Now I have 25 minus 11.25, 13.75, and let's see, here we have the ones place value that they both have in common. So that's 13.75. And on this one, I only get the ones place value. So this one gives me 2 sig figs. This one gives me 3. So when I divide this, I only get 2 sig figs out of it. We need to know that. And let's go ahead and finish writing the rest of this. So times 305 equals. So now I'm going to divide 20.65 by 13.75. So here I get 1.50 times 305. But remember, I only get 2 sig figs. So this value right here only gives me 2 sig figs. Now I have 2 sig figs times 3 sig figs, so my answer can only have the minimum here, 2. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug that in. So here we get 457.5. Once again, I only get 2 significant figures, so I got to cut it off here, which means I'm going to round. This is going to be 460. There we go. 460, final answer. All right, perfect. Let's move on to the next question.